straight to the top story this hour. Leaders of Russia, Iran and Turkey are meeting in Iran's capital Tehran to reach a last-minute deal to avoid a potential bloodbath in the rebel-held province of Idlib. And leaders are addressing the media right now. Let's cut across live and listen in.
Sensitive juncture, safeguarding these efforts which have been result of sacrifice is very important. We also reaffirm our resolve to continue these efforts. The press, the media, as you're aware, from the second summit which was held in April 2018, we have seen many developments not in the region but also in the world. I think all these developments cover these developments in every dimension. As Syria, we have told them that failure to contain Syrian army will have catastrophic consequences. We have said that invading Idlib will have catastrophic consequences. As you know, we have set up 12 observation points in Syria. So in order to continue restoring peace, we have adopted a very important responsibility in this, protecting the civilians of this region, separating the ranks of terrorists from each other, and also keeping the status quo in Idlib is of crucial importance, because Idlib is the same as the entire Syria. I think the wrong step that have been taken will have any wrong steps in this regard will have far-reaching negative consequences in every part of the region. Implementing dangerous measures that puts the lives of civilians at risk and hold them will only pour oil in the fire of terrorism from the very outset of the world. We have always tried to stop the terrorism. We have opened our arms without any discrimination to our brothers and sisters. Like yesterday, we don't want to see a drop of oil shed from an Syrian people. We don't want to see intensification of problem for Idlib government as they have been dealing with it. This has made this very important for us. The issue of Idlib. Must not cause any retrievable damage, and so any issue must be resolved within the spirit of framework of Astana Peace. I think our Turkey's stance has been very clear. We have had discussions and consultation with Mr. Ruhan, and we shared our consultation preserving the fundamentals of Astana peace process for achieving a sustainable diplomatic solution is very important, as we reached agreement in Astana process that under the pretext of the terrorism we must not adopt rash decision. We have also stressed at this point that the territorial integrity of Syria must be protected. And we also must, secessionist groups who are working in lines of other objectives of other groups. We will talk also with the representative of the United Nations in Geneva, and we will talk about the arrangements for setting up a constitution committee. I think it's been finalized. This committee, which is on the agenda, which part of the agenda Astana process. This must be finalized. This must be because it will help contribute. It will add mobility to the political process in this. We have talked about repatriation of displaced people as a country which has hosted about 3.5 million Syrian displaced people. Voluntary safe repatriation of the displaced people to their house.
And now on Wion Dispatch, we're being joined live by Wion's West Asia Bureau Chief Daniela Pagani. Daniela, as we speak, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is addressing the media after those tripartite talks. Erdogan has been consistently reinforcing the need to not go ahead with this offensive, but Russia doesn't seem to be budging. Do you think that these tripartite talks have the chance of Russia pulling back on the Idlib offensive?
It's going to be very hard for Russia to pull back. At the end of the day, part of the rebel groups which are currently in Idlib are very close to Al-Qaeda. It's an organization called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. They can count on at least, as per what they say, 10,000 fighters ready to fight. They're well armed. They haven't been fighting for a while, so they stockpiled arms and ammunition and fighters and money and food. So they actually could turn out to be a very, very problematic enemy. So deciding not to act against Idlib would also mean deciding not to act against Al-Qaeda in Syria. Then, Al-Qaeda is not the only rebel group active within Idlib. Many other rebel groups are in constant touch with Turkey, and Turkey exercises quite a big influence on them. This is why President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said it is better not to attack massively the region of Idlib, the entire region of Idlib, but maybe adopt a more, so to say, phased approach in order to divide clearly areas which are currently under control of terrorist organization and areas which are currently under control of anti-Assad opposition, which could eventually be part of a comprehensive deal. So this is the conundrum. Bear in mind that it's going to be impossible for President Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, to go at it alone. His army is not powerful enough to attack from all the areas it needs to attack and to conduct a massive ground offensive. It doesn't have enough men in the army.
Daniela, as we speak and as these tripartite talks between Turkey, Iran and Russia are taking place, the United Nations Security Council is set to meet as well to discuss the situation in Idlib, and US has made it clear that an assault on Idlib would be a reckless escalation, and there are questions hanging over whether the Russia-backed Syrian regime used chemical weapons in its offensives so far. A lot of pressure, however, building up around Russia and the Russia-backed regime in Syria when it comes to Idlib.
Definitely, yes. And take also into account that a massive bloodshed like the ones we have seen in Aleppo, in Homs, in Raqqa, or in Eastern Ghouta, for instance, as of now is not entirely in Russia's interest. Yes, it is true that President Bashar al-Assad and Russia needed to end this war. And in order to end the war, you need to reconquer 100% of the territories. So Idlib is definitely on the line of fire, one way or the other. But reconquering the last part, which is held by the rebels through a civilian massacre, would not help the Syrian government to reestablish its international credibility and its international acceptance. There will be diplomatical move, very important diplomatical move against them, perhaps sanctions, perhaps a trade war, perhaps political isolation. And this is not in Russia's interest. It's in no one's interest to see the main ally being blocked and isolated in a corner.
Wion's West Asia Bureau Chief Daniela Pagani joining us live from Amman in Jordan. Thank you, Daniela.